Flacs, Bunee here. I told you guys I was going to do a walkthrough of a complete WooCommerce setup on your WordPress site. This is if you already got WordPress set up, all you got to do is install the plugin, and I'm going to take you step by step in setting up your WooCommerce plugin so you can have an online store. The only step I'm not going to include in this video is adding products, because I do have another video on adding products. I'm going to link that. It's going to be linked here somewhere in the description, so that's a separate video. But outside of that, I'm going to take you from beginning to end on setting up a complete WooCommerce setup on your WordPress site for your store. Okay, so obviously the first things first is install the plugin. You go to the plugins button here, add new plugin, obviously, and do a search for WooCommerce. This is probably the easiest part of this entire thing. Again, WooCommerce is very simple, it's very intuitive, so hopefully, and most of these things, it does take you through the steps, right? So we're going to go through that. Obviously, it's the very first one here on the top left. We're going to click Install Now, click Activate, just get the basic WooCommerce. As we go through the setup, a lot of these other plugins that you saw here will get added on, but we're just going to start with the basic WooCommerce for now. Obviously, this is a guided setup, so it's going to take you step by step. It's going to ask you some questions, right? Which one of these best describe you? Depending on your situation, you can go with whatever, but I'm just starting my business. I feel like most people are going to be in that category. I'm just starting my business. You got to give your store a name, what type of products, where's your store located, your email address. So what this is going through identifying you as the store owner. You're going to have to upload probably some documentation, identifying yourself, maybe an ID, maybe a passport or things like that. Because again, when you're dealing with money, IRS, these merchants, they have to identify who they're working with. So just be prepared to provide some identifying information to identify you and or your company for this WooCommerce store. This is asking about those other plugins, which I told you about, which we're going to get to. Generally, I would advise you to read each one, see what you need. We're definitely going to get paid with WooPayments. Printing, shipping labels, you may or may not need that. I would keep that if you feel like you're going to have a lot of heavy traffic and a lot of purchases. You can do that, and if you have a label maker, you can set that up with that. Pinterest, I'm not interested in. That's me. I'm not going to showcase anything with Pinterest. I am going to have drive sales with Google for WooCommerce. That's powerful. Create ad campaigns with TikTok. I do not know much about that. I'm actually curious about that. So I'm going to click on that and learn more about that on my own. Obviously, you want the automated tax rates with WooCommerce. MailChimp is very powerful for keeping in touch with customers. I would keep MailChimp. And Jetpack AI Assistant, we'll keep it for now. We're going to click Continue. So it's going to add all these plugins with that, and it's going to help us set it up as we move along. All right, so we are in the back end of the WooCommerce plugin, and we're going to go through these steps to actually get this done. Now, as far as start customizing your store, we can click that. It does help set up things such as the look and the feel of your store. I don't necessarily use their built-in because I like to have hands-on and do my designing on the front end through Elementor and design everything through there. But let's see let's click that. Let's start here. Let's see what they got for us. And again, this can override. You got to be careful with this in here because it can override your theme. Obviously, they sell in some type of themes. If you want to make this quick and easy, you can go with some of the themes that they're offering here. Obviously some of them are paid. You have to choose and you can pay. And it'll set up the design for you. But again, it'll overwrite anything you have on the WordPress. So if this is a fresh WordPress install, you probably have nothing to worry about. But if you've had a WordPress site for a while, and you've customized it and you've done some things to it, and you come in here and you click on one of these, you pay for it, and you install it, it will write over your theme. Trust me, I've done it. I've been there before. Those are pretty self-explanatory. You pay the money, you install the theme, and there's customization behind that. But this is not how to design your WooCommerce. This is how to install it. So there will be a WooCommerce Design 101 video. This is not it. Adding products, again, I already showed a video for adding products, so that's going to be in the description. They have different types. They have physical product, you have a variable product, and group product. I did this in the last video. So I'm going to go jump to section 3, which is get paid with WooPayments. Okay. And we're going to set up our payment processing. This is where you set up your bank account to collect fees. This is where you may have to upload identifying documentation, and we're going to go through those steps here. Obviously, it's asking you, you're going to need to verify your business details. So I click verify business details. This is where you may need your EIN if you have a company. You may need your business bank account. You may need things such as this is what type of legal entity is your business. Obviously, I have a company. Mine is a single, no, mine is a multi-member LLC. It's going to ask you your estimated annual review or annual revenue. I'm less than 250. What is the estimate timeline? What's your timeline for getting store? I'm going to put within a month, although I could probably get this done today. All right, now I told you the verifying your identity. This is going to be the verifying identity. Let's verify this identity. All right, here we go. Set up your email so you can get paid. So I have WooPayments set up before. It just sent the code to my phone, which is over there. If you don't have WooPayments set up and you don't have an account, you may have to go through the entire process of doing that. So just go through the prompts. Let me go get my phone. All right, and then WooPayments is backed by Stripe. So if you have a Stripe account, it's going to integrate with that. If you don't have a Stripe account, you may have to create a Stripe account. I have a Stripe account, so I'm good to go. So I'm going to click on my business stuff that I already have set up. You may not have one, so you may have to click create a new business, and this is where you would input, again, your company name, your EIN, identifying information, all that stuff. I have a business already, so I'm clicking on the one that I have. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of PII here. It already has my bank account. If you don't have one, you would have to, it'll give you a search thing to search your bank. You'll have two options. You can log into the bank with your credentials to, to log into the bank. It'll connect that way and connect to your account. Or you could do it manually, where you manually enter your routing and your account number. And then you may or may not have to do that deposit verification where they send like 5 cents or 7 cents into your bank account. You might have to wait a couple of days, and then you may have to just verify the amounts they put in there just so they can verify that's yours. I've done that. I'm good to go there, but just keep in mind you're going to have to verify your bank account. I'm good to go, so I'm going to click agree and submit. And it says, boom, thank you for the information. You are ready to use WooPayments. And again, that's because I have a lot of stuff already set up. I didn't think about that before I made this video, but it is self-explanatory. It's like signing in as anything, connecting your bank account, uploading maybe again an ID, a passport, things like that. It says congratulations, your store is being verified. This should not take that long, but I think we should move on. You might see this button says add more ways for buyers to pay. Now, WooCommerce is very powerful. You can integrate PayPal. You can integrate Google Pay. You can integrate Apple Pay. Obviously, you can integrate, credit, debit, regular debit cards, credit cards. And then there's also financing options such as Affirm. Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna, these things, they're really great for larger purchases. So, for instance, let's say you got a product or a service or something you're selling for thousands of dollars, and you want to give the option to your clients or customers to chop that up into smaller payments. So say you use Affirm. Affirm, if they use Affirm, you will get the full price up front. So if it's $2,000 and your customer clicks on Affirm and pays you, you get $2,000 paid from Affirm. But then the client on the customer side, they're going to have to finance with Affirm. Affirm is going to basically work out the loan with them. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about doing credit checks and all that and collecting payments. You get your money up front, and Affirm collects the payments from them on the back end of the transaction. So it's very powerful. Again, you don't have to deal with financing yourself. You can use these platforms. Obviously, there is a surcharge. There's a fee for those. but it's very powerful. Affirm and Klarna, I believe there is a application process you have to do. So once you click on the buttons and try to set it up, you'll be taken through to those vendors or to those merchants to set that up. I recommend doing it, especially if, again, you have larger items or you're selling high ticket items. It helps your clients knowing that they could pay over time instead of hitting their bank account with a large purchase. So I'm going to click on all three of these buy now, pay later guys. So we got Affirm, Afterpay, and Klarna. I don't know too much about these other ones, but I'm going to keep, obviously, credit, debit card is the basic. Everybody knows, everybody has that. I'm going to click continue. And again, these buy now, pay laters, they may have application process you got to go through, but you'll deal with them through them directly, before you set that up. And PayPal, there's a PayPal option. There's a WooCommerce PayPal plugin you have to add if you want to use PayPal. And again, PayPal is very powerful too. PayPal, a lot of people have PayPal, and they have financing as well through there. You know what I'm saying? So enablement complete. Let's go to payment settings. Here so we're in the WooCommerce Backend and we're on the payments tab. It just took us here. But a lot of these, you're going to go through each of these, as we move along. WooCommerce payments, obviously you want to enable payments. We already checked payment methods for credit, debit. We did Afterpay and Klarna. Affirm here says rejected, but they'll probably send you an email and or ask you to do the application process. So you can do that on your own. WooPay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Link by Stripe, you can do that. What this is important here though, what you want to do here is the transaction preferences, customer statements. This customer bank statement section, this is where when someone makes a purchase on your website, this is going to be what pops up on the statement, on their bank statement. So you can put your website, you can put some identifying information up here so they know it's your purchase. I like to just keep the website. It's pretty simple. So I'm going to put the website here. And it's good information for them, right? Don't you ever hate when you buying something or you're looking at your bank statements and you see a purchase and you can't recognize what the thing is and you're like, what is this that I buy? You have no idea. This is how you get rid of that. If you want to, do the right thing and have people know where they're buying from. Support email, obviously you put your an email address to get in contact with you, and then same for a phone number. All right, now after you save the changes, if you see up top, you can see there's a blue bar that says you got 4 steps left to get your store up and running. I'm going to click continue to setup so we can go back to where we can just go through to each item. Sales tax. Let's collect sales tax. Sales tax is pretty simple. I have noticed they have this manual sales tax thing. I have yet to see it work properly out of the box. So what I'm going to do is going to do the thing that I do, which is I like to set it up manually for myself. I know it works when I do it that way. You can try to continue to set up automatically with this thing here. It may or may not work. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I'm going to set up taxes manually. And basically what I do that for is for the state that I live in, which is Virginia. I'm just going to add a section here that tells WooCommerce to charge a 6% tax on items. Now, depending on the different type of items, they may have different rates. Your state, your city, your locale may have different things that you can do there. You would have to do that research on your own. For me, and for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to put a 6% flat tax on everything. And the way you do that is if you're in the WooCommerce Backend and you're in the tax tab, you can just click insert a row into this section here. For the country code, you can type US. I believe that's the country code for the United States. Yeah, United States. For the state code, you can leave that as the wild asterisk. That means in the US, any state, leave it for the post, any zip code, any city, you are charging a 6% tax rate. You can give it a name. This is just for your own purposes. I like to put Norfolk or Virginia. I'll put VA. And you click Save Changes. And what I've noticed that putting this line here for me for Virginia, whenever anybody in the country is ordering something, it puts a 6% tax fee on it. Now again, there's different locations for your city, your state. There may be breakdowns of tax items that you can charge per different things. So like parcel or retail could be different than food or services or whatever. You would have to do that research on your own, and then create create a new row for that item. You could even break it down by zip code. If some states don't have tax, right? Like I think Florida or Cali or whatever don't have tax. You can isolate those specific states and put a 0%. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here or there. That's on the tax side for where you live. Let's see if I can get back to the setup. I'm gonna go back to general, see if we can get back to the setup. Well, let me click the home here. So go back to WooCommerce home to get back to that list of setting up. So we got the sales tax done. Grow your business. We're gonna click this. This is where you can add MailChimp, which is for setting up mail and doing campaigns. We got TikTok WooCommerce for I have not done this, but I'm going to. But I'm not gonna do it on this site. I'm gonna do it on a different site. So I gotta do that on my own. And obviously Google for WooCommerce, you wanna do that as well. So after you do these items here, obviously you can launch your store and you'll be good to go. Again, products, I listed how to add products on a separate video that is linked in the description or up here somewhere. Things to do next. Oh, shipping. All right, so let's get out of this here and let's go to the WooCommerce and look at all the tabs one by one and go through each one, at least the important ones that you need to get set up. All right, we are in WooCommerce Backend. We are going to go through each of these tabs. We have general, we have products, tax, shipping, payments, accounts and privacy, emails, integration, site visibility, advanced and multi-currency. I'm just going to stick to the ones that are pertinent to your store actually working. So obviously for the general store address, you're going to put, if you have a storefront or you have a home address, home-based business, you put that in here. Obviously, that's pretty easy. General options, as far as selling to all countries, I like to put just United States because it's much easier. There was a time where I would send products to other countries and it turns to a headache with the charging and the shipping and foreign stuff. But if you want to sell to all countries, you can. I'm going to just stay in the United States. Ship to all, for shipping locations, you can ship to all countries you sell to. Default customer location, obviously, your shop, country, region. Here it is. Enable taxes. Enable your taxes and calculations. Enable the use of coupon codes if you want. You can create coupon codes later also. For the currency, dollar. If you're a different country, use your currency. Currency position, that's the $sign, I believe. And then you have your decimal separator, number of decimals, and all that stuff. You click Save Changes. Products. You have your shop page. Okay, this is generally most WooCommerce. Well, when you install WooCommerce, you're going to have a shop page. So basically, you'll go to domain or your website /shop. Or so if your website is website.com, you go to website.com/shop, and that'll be the page that lists all your products, or the page where your store is actually enabled. For measurement, unit, dimensions, we're in America, so you can put pounds and inches. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Enable product reviews. You may or may not want to keep that checked. If you want product reviews, you can give, product bombs. If you have enemies out there, it depends on how you feel. And this is just options for the enable reviews and product ratings. You can have ratings on your products, and you can have star ratings. Should be required, not optional. Different things to go there. Remember, as you make changes on each side, click Save Changes so you won't forget and you won't override your options. As far as tax, we did the tax already. We set that up earlier, so we don't necessarily have to worry about the tax. We just got one class. Again, it was 6% across the board. Now we're going to handle shipping. Now, I like this free plugin from USPS. It kind of calculates shipping for the regular postal service. And does it by weight for your product, size for your packages and things like that. What you want to do is download the free plugin if you want to use postal service. Now, obviously, there's UPS, there's DHL, there's FedEx, and all of those have their own respective plugins. And I'm pretty positive they have plugins for WooCommerce. I like to use the regular mail. So while we're on the shipping topic for now, I'm going to go to plugins real quick and just download the USPS shipping calculator, I believe it's called. It might be something else. So we're going to add a new plugin and look for USPS Simple. I think that's what it is. USPS Simple. Yep. So you see it's USPS Simple Shipping for WooCommerce. Install now. And what this does is it brings in the services from the post office, such as priority mail, express mail. They have different kinds, and it brings them in, and it takes the product information that you program into your product, such as the weight, which I believe mostly the weight, and it takes the weight of the product and where you're sending it from, where you're sending it to, and it calculates what that shipping would be, so you can have your customer pay for shipping on the site. Well, basically reimburse you for the shipping. Also, they pay you up front for it. And for instance, if your customer pays for priority mail or priority shipping, the ethical thing to do would be to get your product, go to the post office, and then pay for priority shipping, because they paid for it, so you pay for it. Obviously, they reimbursed you for that. The non-ethical thing to do would be if somebody pays for express or priority or pays for a higher tier of shipping, and you go to the post office and send it for the lowest, like, ground or something. That's not ethical, obviously. And they're paying for it to get it fast. And if you do ground, it might take 3 to 4 days or whatever the case. So we don't want to do that. But once you get the USPS simple shipping for WooCommerce, you want to go to the settings for that. And this is where you will pick the types of things to offer. It's basically taking us to the shipping section of WooCommerce. So you would enable it. Put your postal code, commercial rates, obviously. And here's where you can choose each one. You don't have to have all of these. If you have all of these enabled, when your customer's going through the process and trying to ship, they're going to have all these options available to them. I don't think that it doesn't look right. It's just way too much going on. So I would disable most of them and just have the main ones. So for instance, priority mail express. You can just have priority mail express. These things, they may be very specific for certain reasons, but I don't think that most people care that much. Priority mail, you can just have priority mail. Uncheck all of these. But if you have a specific reason and you know what these specific things are for and you want to offer them, by all means have them checked. But I would not have them all checked. Because your shopping page and your shipping section of the checkout is going to be just full of all of these options, and it's going to be confusing. First class, let's say you're sending letters, postcards, or whatever. Obviously you would have these checked. We're not going to have any first class, at least for what I'm doing, so I'm unchecking all of them. You could do ground advantage and retail ground. I would keep those. And then library mail and media mail, I don't know what those mean, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty covered with the choices that we have. So for here, it's going to just be 4 options. You could get express, priority, or ground and retail ground. Actually, I don't even know what retail ground is, so I'm just going to have one ground. But if you want to do your research on these, I'm sure there are considerations to be made for these items. I don't know. I just know I'm pretty good with ground advantage, pretty good with priority, and pretty good with mail express. And out of all those 3, ground advantage tends to be the cheapest. So if my customer chooses ground advantage because they want to be cheap with their shipping, When I go to the post office, I'm going to choose Ground Advantage. That's how that works. Click Save Changes, and your shipping is pretty much set up if you're using USPS. And again, there's others. There's UPS, there's FedEx, there's DHL, there's all these other guys. If you want to do local pickup, you can. I don't recommend it. If you have a storefront, you can set that up to where they go buy it, and then you get a notification. Just hold the item in your store. And you have all these other options here. You have shipping zones. If you want to ship to different cities and charge a flat rate for those, you can. But again, we just set it up with the USPS Simple. So as far as shipping is concerned, we are good to go. So you don't have to worry about that there. Payments, we pretty much completed. We're set up with WooPayments. So we did that already. That was in the initial setup. Accounts and privacy tab. There's different options in here. You can go through and read them. They're pretty much self-explanatory. I don't see anything here that necessarily needs explanation for the most part, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Emails are important. Generally, you want all new orders to go to the recipient, to the person that's purchasing your product. You want the new orders to go there, maybe even a processing order or a completed order. And again, a lot of this stuff happens on the back end. So when you're processing order and when you complete an order, you go through WooCommerce and you close that item out, or you change the status from pending processing to completed, and your customer will get an email if you program it to. Well, actually, it is programmed. It says customer. So the customer gets all these emails here. They get order on hold, processing order, completed, refunded, customer note, reset. They get all these type of things. You can change these if you want, but for the most part, the main three that you want to make sure that you are getting is a new order, because if you're not getting emails about orders, you can fall behind. It's happened to me. I had a client. We had some purchases. For some reason, we weren't getting emails. And it was like 2.5 weeks before we realized we had some orders to fill. And that was a headache. You don't want to run into that. So make sure you have the correct email for your new orders. Okay. We have an advanced tab. For the most part, you don't have to mess with anything in here unless you want to start changing things. I recommend not to. I haven't played with anything in here that much. So if I ain't messing with it, you probably shouldn't mess with it. And multi-currency, another tab that I don't necessarily mess with. Like I said, I'm in America, so I deal primarily with US dollars. If you were shipping to different countries, right, you would enable this check mark here, which automatically switch customers to their local currency. And of course, if you're selling to other countries, you would want them to see the currency in their country. And if you're shipping to other countries, obviously, you want to have that enabled for that reason. So for the most part, we're good with America. And I think that covers most of it. You can go through, again, WooCommerce is very powerful. I still got to do the design part, so I'll go through and make a video for the design aspect of a store. There are plugins you can use to design a nice WooCommerce store. You can customize the checkout, the view cart, the store itself, the way the products are listed and things like that. But this was just basically setting up so you can have a store active. So we went through the general settings. We went through setting up taxes. We went through setting up shipping. We went through a bunch of different things in this video. Hopefully there was something in here that you learned that you needed to get your store up and running. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. We're going to do more of these type of things. We're going to talk more about WordPress in general. But stay on the lookout for the upcoming design to design your store and make it look pretty, make it look how you want it to look. And also don't forget, there is an add product video I made to add products to WooCommerce. We did not cover adding products here, but there's a totally different and a whole other video to add products to WooCommerce. So I want to thank you guys. That's a wrap for this video. We out.